folks, and there we are recording, and we'll give an online tool on our website so folks who are here today can enter ideas later if you wish, but we want to do a lot of that in this session. But also anybody who misses this session can join asynchronously and do the same. Just for those of you who don't know, I'm Rob Greenwood. I'm director of the Harris Center, also associate vice president, public engagement and external relations at Memorial. Before we begin, I'd like to do the land acknowledgement. Want to acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University's campuses are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. We encourage everyone to reflect on these lands and those where you are located today, and to consider the Indigenous peoples for whom these lands are traditional territory. Feel free to turn off your video if you have challenges with web connection. Remember to mute yourself if you aren't speaking. I'm going to get through the slides pretty quickly, and we can return to them if we need. There's a bunch of Harris Center team members online, and Kathy Newhook will bring up a tool we use in these sessions previously, and we'll use that to capture any ideas that we have come up in the chat or in the Q&A. And Kathy, I think with that, we're good to get going. Okay, you'll bring up the slides.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the screen going here.
All righty.
And you should be seeing that correctly.
I am. And,
awesome.
For anyone who hasn't had my presentations inflicted on you over the decades now, we are named in honor of Dr. Leslie Harris, former president of Memorial, and his reputation really became our brand of integrity, independence, relevance. We try to live up to that every single day. Next slide, Kathy. So this is our third 5-year plan we're developing now. And we, every year, have an annual action plan. And we do a consultation on that. Because of course, things change and you adapt as you go. But we think it's really important to have that longer term focus and direction. And our mission, our vision, our mandate have evolved over the 18 years. We're not currently proposing any changes, but we're always open to suggestions. I'm not going to read out every word, but folks can see those and they're on our website. But we really are there to be a bridge between the university and the people, communities, organizations in Newfoundland and Labrador and beyond. But our focus is always about Newfoundland and Labrador. And the vision is very broad about what we hope to achieve as the ultimate outcome. And it relates to our regional economic development mandate, but also our public policy mandate. And Kathy, I think we can jump to the next slide. So we have over that time, and for people who have been involved with the Harris Center, it may be on the public policy side and with events and activities with Memorial faculty, students, and staff, in partnership with people from within the province and beyond. It could be at the local level with our regional workshops we did for many years in partnership with regional economic development boards. And with the demise of the Red Bees, that's morphed into the Thriving Regions program, which I'll talk a little bit more about. We play a navigator, facilitator role for people to connect within the university and from the university to the outside. We've developed significant capacity, which I'll talk about, around data and analysis, working with colleagues within the university. And we have funding programs that we have been able to connect with governments, foundations, businesses, to make funding available for applied research relating to the needs of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we're always there as a broker, connector, mobilizer. Next slide, Kathy. As Thriving Regions program, as I mentioned, has been up and running for several years now, and we partner with local organizing committees, with municipalities, NGOs, business, education, health, whoever the local community organizations think should be at the table, often with Indigenous groups. And Boyan First and Chris Patterson is our leads on this program. But it connects across the university, all campuses. And you can see the regions we've already done these workshops in. And it's a series of workshops where we bring the region together, co-design research projects. So it's very much about not us bringing our ideas about what's needed in the region, but the community, the partners connecting, saying what their opportunities and needs are that the university could help with. Then we also have workshops that are about building capacity on topics the community identifies. And then the final workshop is delivering on the research that's been done and brainstorming on how the region can take that work and feed it into their future plans. Next slide. So there's a sampling of some of the projects. We have funding from the province and from ACOA for each of those regions. Usually it's 15,000 per project for 3 projects in each region. And this is just sampling, showing some from researchers at Grenfell campus, sciences, humanities and social sciences. And we want those to be relevant, applied, but often areas that we would never have thought of going into the community meetings. And so it really is about that synergy and co-creation. And again, if anybody has any questions, comments, we can come back to these. We also have other funding programs. We've had many over the years. They're all listed on our website, the projects that have been funded. So we have the West White Rose Employment Diversity Fund, which is up to 20,000 per project for funds that research how greater diversity of employment can be made available in the natural resources sector in Newfoundland and Labrador. And then we've had a long-term relationship with the Multi-Material Stewardship Board on the Waste Management Fund. We funded a postdoctoral fellow, and we always have research projects, again, that relate to the mandate of MMSB, solid waste management in the province. And we will award 15,000 per project for 3 different projects. We've had a total of 29 so far, and that program is ongoing. Next slide. Then, of course, our public policy activities have been there from the start with Memorial Presents and Synergy Sessions and the Galbraith annually. And we've introduced our Yaffle Connect sessions, and we look forward to doing more in person again. But we have for many, many years webcast them live, digitally recorded them. And so when the pandemic hit, we were well able to keep up that program, and happy to keep that going into our new 5-year plan. But we always open to ideas. Kathy, thank you. And so we decided several years ago to launch a multi-year program. We knew before the pandemic hit that climate change, of course, was a massive priority, but all too often being talked about in the silos of social media, where there's an echo chamber of people who have the same ideas. And it's absolutely essential that we get the climate change discussion going as relates to economy, society, and environment. We put an expert panel in place to advise us on this, a steering committee, but we also reached out across the province and asked for nominations to a citizens forum. And we have an online platform where we have our ongoing live webcast sessions, but then they're digitally recorded. But then Kathy and Mandy Rousel and Boyan facilitate ongoing discussions on that forum amongst the citizens forum, tapping into the experts on our steering committee, tapping into the people who present. And we're leading up to a conference in the fall in 2022, where we'll bring all this to a head. but we have some synthesis work being done in the meantime. But we're now also looking at what will be the next multi-year program like this. And we're thinking about civics. We all know the challenges with social media. We've seen some of the issues with the convoy in Canada. We see what's happening internationally. And we see what's happening to our partner in the South, and increasingly in Canada, increasingly in Newfoundland and Labrador. And so what are the responsibilities and the freedoms for citizens in a democracy? What is the role of the media? What's the role of social media? So we're thinking that could be a really powerful opportunity, but we'd love your feedback on that. And so stay tuned. Next one's Kathy. Vital Signs is an ongoing partnership with the Community Foundation. We see the one coming up this year being linked with our Forecast NL series, but we have a superb partnership with Saltwire Media. The media in general latches onto it every year when it goes out. And thanks to Saltwire, it goes out to every household in the province. And we partner with the major papers that exist in the province. And we want to keep doing that. And we see it providing critical information for evidence-informed discussions, for public policy, for community. And but again, always open to new ideas and suggestions. Kathy? We've also developed over the years, partnering initially with Alvin Sims in the geography department, humanities and social sciences faculty, and ongoing with other faculty. Jamie Ward is a full-time employee of the Harris Center, funded through RANLab activities, graduate of the geography department. And we're now looking at new ways to build on RANLab with the data we have, the algorithms Jamie, Alvin, David Freshwater have developed, and connecting with municipalities, with the organizations throughout the province involved in community development, the CBDCs doing business lending around the province, with the Nunavut government, with the provincial government, with the federal government. And we want to link this more and more with undergraduate education and faculty research. And we have some examples of that happening now. So more ideas on RANLab, always welcome. Kathy. We have ongoing knowledge mobilization and training sessions. We partnered with the Future Skills Center, with YAFL, and with RANLab nationally. And we are delivering a whole bunch of those with a great response. And they're all webcast, but also digitally recorded, available on our website. Next one. YAFL, been around for well over a decade now. But once again, the technology moves along. So Kim Crosby, Mandy Strickland, and the team have moved it into the cloud. We have a partnership with the Research Impact Network nationally. We have Bishop's University in Quebec now piloting YAFL. University of New Brunswick has done previously, and then moved it over to the New Brunswick Social Policy Network. And so we are really keen on connecting more and more with communities, with faculty, with students, with YAFL as an online tool, always leading to projects and mobilizing the knowledge we have. Next slide. We have a brand new initiative in partnership with the University of the Arctic, which broadens the Harris Center mandate. Of course, Memorial has a partnership now with Nunavut Arctic College, a generational 10-year partnership as the key university partnering with Nunavut. Through our Marine Institute, we've been active in Nunavut for decades in the fishery, and increasingly through other faculties and schools. And through our partnership with UArctic, Sheila Downer, longtime Harris Center staff member and colleague, even before she joined the Harris Center, is a vice president with the University of the Arctic. Our president is a big champion of this connection. And of course, Memorial has the new School of Arctic and Subarctic Studies and our new campus in Labrador. All that positioning us for this new funding through Global Affairs Canada for research across Canada, with researchers connecting with partners in the Arctic, in the Canadian Arctic, and through UArctic beyond. And we have funding for research and teaching and learning projects. And we have fund for those who haven't had the partnerships in the North with Indigenous communities in particular to help develop those partnerships. And it's all in sync with Memorial's Indigenous research policy. And so we're very excited about this one and happy to chat more about that. Next slide, Kathy. And then another new initiative initiated by our president when she joined Memorial before COVID locked us all down from traveling. She was able to travel across the island and Labrador and heard from students as we were moving more and more courses online with the pandemic that in areas that don't have good internet access, it was very difficult to do courses from home. So our Grenfell campus showed great leadership in partnering with Indigenous communities and women's organization in Port Saunders and in St. George's. And we were able to launch 2 pilots on the West Coast in partnership with those community organizations, with the Indigenous organizations, in Flat Bay as well, partnering in St. George's. And it provided a location that community partners had their own physical space, office space, meeting space, that did have access to high speed, but then were willing to make it available to students and the community partners for other public engagement activities, as well as online teaching and learning. And Memorial is working to increase our continuing education offerings. The Marine Institute has a load online and delivered in person around the province every year. The Gardner Center, part of the business school, our alumni engagement team are doing a load of online programming during the pandemic. Grenfell campus has a continuing ed lifelong learning unit, but every faculty in school, the health professions are really big in this area. So we see the community hubs as an opportunity for community partners to connect more actively with Memorial. We have an RFP out right now. We have funding from ACOA and the province, and for Arctic and Northern hubs from Global Affairs. So please look on our website, connect. Mary Perez at our Grenfell campus is the coordinator for this program. And we would love to explore more ways to connect province-wide through these hubs. Harris Center is the coordinator for the platform that is the hubs, but the programming is all about Memorial faculty, schools, staff, students, collaborating with community partners, delivering what we already have, but identifying new opportunities and co-creating collectively. So really exciting, work in progress. Let us know your thoughts. Next slide, Kathy. So end of the presentation for now. You know, I can go on and on and on. Happy to go back and answer any questions. But for now, for the next 5-year plan, this will be in 2 years, the 20th anniversary of the Harris Center. I've been there from the beginning and I probably will retire during this 5-year plan. We're looking at 3 potential high-level goals where we serve as a bridge between Memorial and the province, being a trusted source of information, analysis, and convening, and of course, a goal that relates to our own operations. But those are draft. We're going to reshape them based on the input we get. We always work with our advisory board. We'll have a meeting coming up in the spring on this. But now we're opening up to your ideas. I think Kathy has an online tool she'll use, which we credit Morgan Murray when he was with us. He's in Cape Breton these days, still doing work in innovation on what do you think we should seed? What's stuff we're not currently doing that we should start? Feed. What are we currently doing that we should feed some more? And weed. Every good gardener knows you have to plant, but you also need to remove. Is there anything we should stop doing? And we've done some of that over the years. So Kathy, we have the chat available for anybody who wants to type in any ideas or thoughts, and Kathy will feed or fill in that document that captures the input. But we also have the way for you to put up your hand. Let us know if you want to ask a question verbally. You can introduce yourself and we'll recognize you. I'll turn to Kathy to do that. So Kathy, any questions lined up now? And who would like to go first?
Yeah, we've got one question came in the chat already from Fraser, and I'm just, I know he typed it in the chat, but I feel like he could probably say it himself even better. So I don't know if you're interested in just popping online and getting your question out, Fraser.
Yes, good morning. And let me say first, I mean, this venue, this process, the Harris Center, the exceptional work that you do, it is a joy to watch at times and to be engaged with. When I was going through and listening, I'm just wondering, what are your plans for all of those initiatives that you're involved with to either align or merge with the Green Report, the Health Accord, and you know, a real objective of society in general is, and that's net zero from the climate concerns that we all have. It's just a question.
Right on. Well, as you may know, of course, with the Green Report, there were a whole bunch of initiatives in there that relate to pretty much every aspect of Newfoundland and Labrador society. And we're not advocates, of course. We're a broker, facilitator, catalyst, connect faculty, staff, and students. And so, but we also have areas where with our mandate, we've had ongoing research, the reports done, and capability with RAN Lab and some of the other supports. So one of the areas the Green Report talked about was regionalization and the possibility of regional government. And we've done a lot of work over the years with the Harris Center, with Steve Tomblin, with other faculty on regionalization. We, with the work of Alvin Sims and RAN Lab, Kelly Vodden at our Grenfell campus on regional economic development. We've partnered with the municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador over the years. And so we see ourselves as a support to that process. And we've done work with MNL and the provincial government on some of those pieces. Obviously on climate change and on the elements of the fiscal situation with transitioning from oil and gas. The Forecast NL program series over a year and a half, 2 years of activity is precisely on that, on some of the tough choices, because we know with oil and gas that contributed significantly to the revenues of the province and to the taxes and to employment, less so, but still significantly. And when we look at transitioning, what are some of the opportunities? What are some of the challenges? And so the Forecast NL series is very much in sync with that. And I think with the Health Accord, we see in our mandate regional economic development. As many people know who study the social determinants of health, the best way to be healthy is to have a job. And then there are those other elements of the social determinants that really relate to community, to region, to connection. I think when we think about our civics initiative, that really relates to a lot of that. But also RAN Lab. Pat Parfrey met with Jamie Ward every couple of weeks to get research and analysis work from RAN Lab to feed into that report. So we're really pleased with the connections we've had with those processes. Always room for more. And so I don't know, Fraser, if that's an adequate response, but that's what comes to my mind off the top of my head.
Yes, Rob, it's a good response, and I'm glad to see the activities that are ongoing, and particularly reference, you know, the excuse me, the Beta Nord issue, and you know, the importance of that to our economy, and then also trying to meet net zero. It would be a fantastic project to be able to see coming from such as the Harris report, a real true balanced report showing the positives the negatives and what is best. I mean, I know if Canada simply produced its own oil instead of bringing in the numerous amount of oil that it does bring in, it would decrease our carbon footprint by 6.2%. It's massive. So a lot of people don't know that. So, and those on the environmental side, I take one example, and it's an unfortunate example, which is the new beautiful looking science building, which is built with concrete. And we know that a house, if you build a house with concrete or wood, the difference is 4 tons of CO2 that you keep out of the atmosphere simply because you built your house in wood. So I'm scared to imagine what that building has cost us from the point of view of the CO2s that went in. So I'm hoping to see the university practice what they preach. So again, there's so many, but I'd love to be able to see an analysis to say to me as a taxpayer that was the right choice, or we should look at something that's more sustainable. And just to finish up, and there's so many topics I realize, but we know oil is going to be gone from our province eventually, and that's what we have to plan for. What is our renewable resources? What are we doing in forestry, in fisheries, and so on? But the sustainability of our forest and using that resource needs to be discussed also. But thank you very much.
Right on. No, thank you, Fraser. And it's beyond my knowledge base to talk about the new science building structure and components, but I'm sure there could be people maybe online or who we could find who would comment on that. As you may know, of course, Memorial announced just this week with governments shifting some of the boilers over to electricity. And that's a massive saving on greenhouse gases. And also, I should mention, as we finalize our Forecast NL programming this year, we are still partnering with EcoNext and looking at opportunities for ongoing activities, because that issue is not going away. And so we'll see where that goes with our ongoing work in the 5-year plan. Thanks again, Fraser. Kathy, I think I did see at least one hand up there. Who's next?
Yeah, Ryan Norman has his hand up as well. Next.
Thank you, and I really appreciate the Harris Center too, and what you do. I think it's so important to keep making sure that research is relevant, right? Pure research is so important, but the more it can be relevant, we have so many issues that we're facing as a province and globally, and I think it's no surprise, and it's a really good thing to see the important acknowledgement of the important need to tackle and make relevant some research for climate change. Another really big one in this province is around healthcare, and we all know the healthcare system is about to undergo a big change. So I could go on with lots of big questions about, wondering if there's any role for the Harris Center in making research relevant to that. But I think more the reason why I wanted to join this was really curious about where there could be any opportunities to partner in research around mental health. And now I'm a frontline social worker with Eastern Health. I work at the Waterford Hospital, but I'm also a director for the board for Channel. And so, I'm really curious about what could be done around mental health specifically, because, there's such a challenging area. And I know at Memorial, we have social work, school social work, psychology department, sociology department, and I understand there's always work-term students going back and forth. But I'm just wondering, and I did find it really interesting when you said the Harris Center, Memorial University Community Hub. So I'm not really very knowledgeable on that, but I think I saw there the request for proposals was out. So I guess I'm wondering if there might be any potential to to facilitate some kind of partnerships and collaboration through that. So I guess I guess I'm just kind of putting it on the radar there, wondering if what kind of opportunities could exist there to improve our mental health, because there are a lot of major issues in our culture. I think it would be fair to argue that there's some serious intergenerational trauma and some serious issues in our culture there, not just economically, but socially and psychosocially, and wondering if there could be opportunity there with the Harris Center. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Ryan, and thanks for the positive comments and the great ideas. Harris Center has, we have ongoing discussions, and these 5-year plans are the great time to think about these things. Our mandate is regional, rural, economic development. But of course, we know the economy operates in conjunction with society and with our culture and all of it within our environment. And so you can't disconnect these things. You have to be careful about trying to be all things to all people. So we do have partner organizations at Memorial that have greater focus in this area. And you mentioned some of the faculties in healthcare, social work that relate specifically to mental health issues. There is Newfoundland and Labrador Center of Applied Health Research that does really important work as a bridge, kind of like the Harris Center, but with more focus on the social sector, health sector. Our Grenfell campus also has a aging research center, and we know a lot of the mental health areas of focus relate to aging populations, not exclusively, obviously. And we also have an Office of Public Engagement, which I'm also responsible for, which has programming not focused on a particular area, but all about Memorial partnering with external. And I know a lot of the work that we fund through the Accelerator Fund, the Quick Start Fund, relates to mental health and other social areas. For the Harris Center, though, I would say, the work we do with RANLab on regional analysis, looking at some of the input we had to the Pat Parfrey, Sister Elizabeth Davis work on the Health Accord, because so much of this work needs to be related to rural and regional provision. And I do think, as you say, the community hubs is a brand new program just launched a week or so ago with the RFP. And there is a website for that, and you can track that through the Harris Center site. And so they are meant to be those locations, while the Harris Center manages them as the connector with the community partners as they get up and running. And with the initial pilot over 2 years, we hope to have 6 or 8 or 10 hubs with some of the funding we have from government. There could be another up to 10 hubs in the initial 2 years, where there are larger municipalities or libraries or CBDCs or even government agencies. And of course, the College of North Atlantic could be hub partner in some locations. Those are platforms for community collaboration. And so mental health could be a definite connector, area of focus for MUN faculty, staff, and students with community partners in all or some of those hubs. So I think that's all I would mention on that one for now. Hopefully that's helpful, Ryan. Also, if any of my Harris Center colleagues want to jump in further on that, feel free. But Kathy, I suspect there are other folks ready with questions or comments.
Yeah, we do. We have a few, and I keep going back and forth between the chat and people who have their hand up, because I'm allowing opportunity for the people who have posted questions in the chat to say them themselves on the screen as well. So Steve, I think you're ready to ask your question there now.
Okay, thanks. I guess I just want to echo the sentiments of the previous people on there on the work of the Harris Center over the past 18 years, and I guess the importance of that level of work. My question is around I guess, your interactions with the Marine Institute, and just the Marine Institute in general, not in any particular sector or anything, but sort of how do you interact with them? How do you get your input? Is it a regular thing that you do, or is it an ad hoc thing that you have? Like, how is all that structured?
That's a great question. And part of it, Steve, is through the other roles I play as well. I'm director of the Harris Center and also as AVP. And so one of the initiatives we've been working on over many years now at the university is our Coasts Initiative, Cold Oceans and Arctic Science, Technology, and Society. And there's a Coast Steering Committee, which I facilitate. And Glenn Blackwood, when he was there for many years as VP, very active on that front with his team. Of course, Rob Shea is there now. And so we continue to interact at that level frequently. But also, I would say with the Harris Center specifically, a lot of the work Boyan leads as our manager of knowledge mobilization, and Chris Patterson is at the regional level. And so MI is a knowledge mobilization community engagement machine that has connections province-wide in Foxtrap and Holyrood and Lewisport and Stephenville, and in every community you could imagine around the coast and throughout the north. And so MI is very active with our global affairs funding, with the new funding we have with the U-Arctic. But I think, it's a fair comment that we could be more proactively engaged with MI. Our Grenfell campus, we're very excited about a new project, partly through the hubs, but where Grenfell proposed we have a Harris Center position at Grenfell. And we cobbled together some funding between us and Grenfell and with the Hubs Initiative. I think, based on your input and this conversation, I'm going to connect with Rob more proactively and see how Harris Center could be doing more. One other one that comes to mind, and again, we have many, many irons and many fires. I know Boyan First and Chris Patterson have a bioeconomy initiative that I think came out of the Thriving Regions project, and CCFI is very active in that, Keith Hutchings, and that's looking at reuse of waste products in the resource sector across agriculture, aquaculture, fishery. So that's a really proactive initiative. I know MI is faculty and staff have tapped into Harris Center applied research funds over the years, but also YAFL, now CCFI, Canadian Centre for Fisheries Innovation, has adopted YAFL as a key tool for them. And we're really excited about that one. So I think there's a lot we're doing, but I think there's a lot more we could be doing. So I'm glad you raised that. I don't know if any of my team want to add any more, or Kathy, do we have someone queued up to go again?
Boyan, actually, he wanted to add something. So
good.
I think he can unmute.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I just also wanted to point out that we fund research projects at MI as well. Dr. Deepika Day, for example, comes to mind, and a lot of it has to do around innovative fish products or components out of fish waste. So we do that, and of course, through the new GALI, the Arctic Initiative, I suspect we will be working closely with MI as well, because they have such a huge presence in Nunavut. Thank you.
Thanks, Boyan.
We had a question from Tony. Tony Fang had his hand up, but then he took his hand down. So I don't know if Tony.
No, I'm up now. So okay.
All right.
I'm still in the queue. Okay. Thanks,
Yep.
Rob, for that fabulous public engagement programs and extensive network across province and beyond. And also, I would like to thank you and the Harris Center for your generous support over the years, to the Stephen Jaroslawski Chair Program at Memorial University. As you know, as a research program, we do research, we train students, we inform public policies, and sometimes we also advocate for immigration and population growth in this province. just a recent public opinion survey, we just received data a couple of weeks ago about the public attitude towards immigration, and our province shows the highest percentage of residents who are supportive of high immigration targets, and it's actually highest among all Atlantic provinces, and also increased from 20%, in 2014 to almost 41%, this year. So I think it's a very encouraging sign. And as a research group, of course, we not only publish papers, but also would like to engage with communities, especially the rural, remote communities, to speak about the social, economic, cultural benefits of immigration and the population growth. So we are planning to organize a serious workshop right across the province in the coming years, also with possible funding from Shared Connection grants. I'm just wondering if there's any interest from Harris Center to sponsor those kind of events and also help making the connections.
Thank you, Tony, and great to have you on this. Of course, you've been a great faculty collaborator with the Harris Center from the day you arrived. And as you're probably aware, I'm sure Dave Vardy, when he was the Associate Director for the Harris Center, he helped launch a lot of the work in our province on immigration. He worked with the various immigration-related NGOs and organized a briefing for the Social Policy Committee of Cabinet. That was about 18 years ago. And then Mike Clare picked up on a lot of that work, and Kathy and our team have done some in partnership with you. So we'd love to hear some more about that, Tony, subsequent to this session, and find out what you have coming up in those regional sessions. And so if there could be a way for them to dovetail with the Thriving Regions process. Maybe there's some way they can connect with the community hubs. And of course, a lot of the work we've done with RANLab, with Jamie Ward and Alvin, and Kim Crosby is our lead on that, is related to labor market and some of the challenges with our demographic projections. And we know that immigration is absolutely crucial for that. So look forward to exploring that one with you, Tony, and see where we can, as you know, we live our lives with lead, partner, and support. Sometimes we can be the lead, sometimes we're partners, sometimes we're support. So let's look forward to another 5 years of working together, at least on that stuff, Tony.
Yeah, I'm very ambitious plan. Looking forward to working with you, including switching the roles, anyone as partners, lead, whatever. So yeah, okay, a wonderful show. So definitely, hope to see more coming in.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Next up,
we also
Kathy.
we have Daphna, as I think her last name is pronounced Ziv, but you're going to have to correct me on that one. She had posted it in the chat, and it's on the same sort of topic. So do you want to unmute yourself there?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, it is Daphna Ziv, and thank you for clarifying. I'd like to build on Tony's comments and gratitude. First, definitely, I just learned about your center. I'm just recently took a role as a career strategist with the Study and Stay NL, and really looking forward to helping the group really integrate with local organizations such as the Harris Center and other organizations to really support immigration, particularly international students. I've been in that role for 2 months now. I've got to meet, we have about a pool of 110 students, got to meet a good part of that. And I think the major challenge and I spoke to previous students as well. Sorry, let me put my, I didn't realize my camera was not on. Sorry about that. There you go. And thank you. Sorry about that. And I think the important thing, I'm doing this as a career strategist. I've also been encouraged to become consultant for the role. However, what's holding me back is I don't have the connections. I come from a corporate world. I came into Newfoundland I was recruited to a local company in Mersat, leading their cash and collection department. So my network is really international and and national as well. So I'm slowly building my network here in Newfoundland, and I heard about your organization. And I guess what I'm trying to get to is how can we collaborate and work together to really get this program going. There's a lot of challenges that I see right now, and we definitely need support of the local communities and local organizations such as yourself. Thank you.
Great. Well, some of what you say relates to, as you mentioned, to what Tony had to say and some of the discussion already. But you know, what you're asking is one of the things we do day in, day out as part of our core mandate, is to be a broker, connector, facilitator, convener. And so through my work over the years, and Boyan and Kathy and Kim and Sheila and the rest of our team, we have a lot of connections province-wide and beyond. And part of our role is to help connect within the university. So again, you have an amazing resource with faculty and staff and students. And so more often than not, our role is to help do introductions and maybe play a role, but more often not, just to connect and get out of the way. But there could also be ways that we could work with your group as the Harris Center. So I would encourage you to pop me an email at robg@mun.ca, and we'll connect with me, and whoever from our team would be a good first place to chat. And we do that every day of the week, every day of the year. And as I say, we're delighted to do it. And maybe there's an ongoing relationship, and we'll see where it goes.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. I'll definitely reach out.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for all your
Thank
support.
you.
And just to add to that too, Rob, that we a few years ago did just before COVID hit, we did a YAFL Connects with the Study and Stay program. So that was obviously before your time, Daphna, but that is online. I don't know if you have the link or if you've seen the session, but if you took a look at it, it might be something that would help you in building the connections, because you could just send along the link to the online session, and it explains what the program is all about. And it's already video recorded for you. So I can send you the link to that, no problem. And if it's useful, you can use it.
I'll put my email address in the chat. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Kathy, I'd be negligent not to mention also on that conversation, YAFL as a tool that you can go to and enter ideas for new collaboration, new projects, and then anybody connected to YAFL can see that, and you might find a graduate student who wants to do work on it, faculty member already doing work, or another community partner. So, you know, we're happy to be the human intermediary, but there's also that tool with YAFL. Next up, Kathy.
We had a question from Mike Mike Keogh. And I think he got kicked off or he got tired of waiting. I hope that wasn't the case. I know Mike, so hopefully that's not the case. But there also, Colin Mason has introduced himself in the chat. And I don't know, Colin, if you want to take a minute, if you had any questions above and beyond that, or if you want to take a minute to say hi.
I'll just say hi. I mean, I have to say I'm University of Glasgow in Scotland, but my first connection to Newfoundland goes back to 1985 when I just a young lad then, when I went over to do some summer school teaching. I was a geographer in those days, and I've made recurrent visits to Newfoundland since then. Rob and I, our paths crossed in the UK back in the 90s, I think, and obviously met Rob in more recent visits. I've done a couple of Harris Centre seminars over the last 10 years. I'm delighted to be appointed an adjunct in the Faculty of Commerce at MUN, in connection with a project I'm doing with Blair Windsor, a Harris Centre project. We're looking at the famous or infamous company Consultation, technology star, the kind of could have been the Verafin of the 2000s. It failed. Government put in a lot of funding. The reaction was, oh, this failure, waste of government money. But we're telling a more positive story that actually they developed such great human talent that when Consultation closed, all the staff went and worked for other emerging tech companies at the time. So generalizing this work, it kind of tells government to be less risk averse in terms of funding what company. Obviously, you've got to be selective, but anyway, and hopefully, possibly September, I might be over with you, and Blair and I can maybe present our findings then. I mean, we'll have got the report done before then. So anyway, just saying hi.
Fantastic. Thank you, Colin, for joining. And we look forward to that report and sessions based on it. And that report came out of work that we helped broker that was in conjunction with colleagues from the University of Toronto on the social foundations of innovation in city regions. And that led to the Advancing Innovation in Newfoundland and Labrador process that Kelly Vodden was very active in, and Heather Hall, Josh Lepowski in geography was part of the initial project, and Blair Windsor, Jackie Walsh in business, and she was at Grenfell at the time. And now we're launching a new project in partnership with the OECD on the role of Memorial University in innovation, regional innovation, in particular ocean innovation. And so the innovation theme continues to be a key, obviously critical focus. So look forward to your work, Colin. So thanks for joining. Any others there, Kathy, for now?
Nothing else in the chat, and there are no other hands up. So unless someone has anything that they can jump in at this point, I think we're good. If you want to give it one last call.
And or any other of the Harris Center team, anything I've missed? I think Kim Crosby is on there. Sheila Downer, I think, is flying, which is new for her this year, but not new for her in her career.
Lori
Kim or
Brinklow.
Boyan? Pardon me?
And Lori Brinklow has her hand up now too.
Ah, great.
Hi there, Rob and team. I'm just want to just say thank you for all the work that you continue to do. And I don't have any suggestions, just keep up the good work. Feed. And looking forward to over the next few years doing more close collaborations with you guys, because we're here at the Institute of Island Studies at UPEI, another island university, which also serves as a bridge between university and community, doing all kinds of community projects. So you are such an inspiration, and I just think that you deserve every penny that you guys get because you work so damn hard. So keep it up.
Well, thank you very much, Lori. And of course, the Institute of Island Studies existed before the Harris Center. And we collaborated on the North Atlantic Islands program, starting with the North Atlantic Forum hosted at UPEI. And Mark Shrimpton, an associate of the Harris Center, was a key partner in that. And we worked with a bunch of people at Memorial on that 7-year program. And so the Islands Network continues to be a key element of Harris Center partnering. Sheila Downer and I and Lori continue to be collaborators on the North Atlantic Forum, upcoming conference in Ireland. And then we'll see about the next one back in Atlantic Canada. And so great to have you on, Lori, and more projects to come.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Any others before we clue up, Kathy?
Not that I can see.
Well, I just want to point out that this session is really key to us. And we appreciate that, schedules are tough. We often have multiple of these sessions. With the pandemic, it's more difficult, but we will utilize online. So this session will be digitally recorded, posted. We'll put out some communications and have a little online survey for any of you who have more to add, who didn't say all you wanted to say here today, but also so that other colleagues within the university and outside can join into this conversation and feed into our thinking on our next 5-year plan. We are the only organization in the province, to my knowledge, that holds an annual public consultation on our strategic plan. And it's core really to our mandate. And we are here to serve the public, to connect with the university. And it's an honor and a pleasure. And so thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks to Kathy and Mandy and the team for making this happen, and for all our team for making all the work every day happen. And just phone, email, follow up online. We really want your input and we want your projects and we want to collaborate. So bring it on. Hope you have a great rest of the day and thanks again.